Hey Scrappers, Tom here from the iScrap app, and we've had a lot of people ask us a question: are old spark plugs worth money, and are old spark plugs worth recycling? And if so, how do I do it, and what are they worth? So I want to show you a few examples here. So when I look at spark plugs, right off the bat, you have some ceramic on it, you have some steel on it, and then you have a couple of different options from there that are worth money. Now, one thing I would never suggest before I go deep into this is taking spark plugs apart. Not worth doing. Spark plugs are replaced in millions and millions of devices and pieces of equipment, cars, lawnmowers, tractors, every single year. So with millions of things out there, can you make money on them is a question. And we want to show you the biggest difference that we found on how to identify what spark plugs are worth money and what spark plugs are not worth money. So here you can see two different types of spark plugs. The biggest difference is not the size of the spark plugs, even though they are bigger and smaller, it's about the tips. Now, there are two types of tips when it comes to spark plugs. There's ones like this that have a flat top on it. That tip is made of copper. The second type is one that has a tip on it, and you can see here, it comes to like a little point, like a little nipple. That is either going to be platinum or iridium. Now, the question you're going to come up with is, Tom, should we take these apart? Number one, this is essentially no value. There's not enough copper in there to make this worth any more money. There's no precious metals inside, so all you have is steel, and ceramic. So again, not worth any money. But when you have these spark plugs that have the iridium or the platinum tips on it, is it worth taking that piece off? Again, the answer is no. Spark plugs are purchased by RRCats as a per pound item. So we want you to be able to have these on a per pound basis, and we're going to buy them at whatever the market rates are. And those rates fluctuate based on platinum and iridium prices. So if you do have spark plugs, you sure don't want to mix the copper and the iridium ones together. That's an easy thing to be able to switch. And again, don't look at the size. There are also large spark plugs that have iridium tips on them, so the size does not always matter, nor where it's made. These are made in Japan, these are made in the United States. That doesn't matter either, because spark plugs can be made in all areas of the world with those precious metals on them. But the value ends up being in the tips. So when you look at these and you want to compare them, are they recyclable? Yes, this might go into the steel category, but this is going to go into the spark plug category. Who's going to buy them? Most scrapyards are not going to buy spark plugs, but RRCats.com does and provides you free shipping for these. So click the link and find out how much the price is today. So what are they made of? Steel, copper, iridium, ceramics, right? So you know that there is some value in there, there is some metal, but you want to go for the ones that have that nipple on the top, not the flatheads. The flatheads are copper. The ones with like the nipple or the tips, those are going to be your platinums, those are going to be your iridiums. Are you allowed to take this off to try to recycle it? Please don't. It's kind of like catalytic converters. Don't take the shell off of the cat. Please don't take the tips off of these, because when we get them and they're missing the tips, we're not going to buy them because the value is gone. For you to save all of these tips, no one's going to buy these on a per gram or per ounce basis. So the best thing for you to do is save your spark plugs, make sure they have the nipple tip versus the flathead tip. Then you know that they're worth more money. Then you can contact RRCats, get a quote, get a bucket, ship them to us for free, and get paid for them a couple times a year or more often if you deal with these things. So when you're recycling these spark plugs, now you're going to learn what types there are, what they're worth, where you can recycle them, and it gives you another way to make more money with your scrap. Don't forget, when you do sell them, report those prices online. Any other questions about any type of auto scrap, let us know, and until next time, I'll scrap you later.